It's a common thing to hear about shifts in paradigms or ways to see how things are done. Sometimes these shifts cause us to stop thinking about things one way and begin to seek other ways entirely different. Such things are often impacting the whole world. But what companies change the way we do things? What kind of global effect has been made by one or two companies with ingenious ideas? What things do we see now that was totally and unexpectedly changed from the way it was done before? This is a list of companies that changed the venue, so grab the throttle, sit back, relax, and let's get started. When Star Wars Episode 4 was first released to the world, it seemed so epic, so vital, that it really did seem like the Millennium Falcon was being tractor beamed into the Death Star, and that, at their escape, there really were 4 TIE fighters in battle with the ship. Before that, it was all about set decoration, but with it being the late 1970s, the idea of computer-generated images was little more than a fevered dream that may have begun a few years later with the creation of Tron by Disney. Sure, it took a lot more, and it was a bit more expensive, but the thought of actually seeming to be in a physical environment that looked good was beyond what was expected. Others, later, had to measure up or see their plans fall apart. They had to measure up because people stopped seeing set decorations being made to believe it was real and began to want to see more of what Star Wars brought. And ILM became the go-to special effects company for many of these films because the quality was what was expected. And once that started, the days of model ships and sets were numbered. Chances are there are people listening to this that would think it a strange idea to have actual stores and shops that rented movies out for a specific time before they had to be returned, unless you use Redbox. Chances are it just never occurred to them that it was even possible to have multiple bookstores and that the name of Blockbuster was something everybody knew. In 1997, someone thought of the brilliant idea to use the U.S. mail to deliver DVDs to homes that were subscribed. There's a likelihood they were just curious if it could be done, but then Netflix exploded. Soon everyone was paying because of 2 very simple changes to the DVD rental scheme. First was that you didn't have to drive to the store to deliver it back. Second was that it got rid of the late fees, and that was what drove the final nail into the coffin of Blockbuster. There was the time I believe they nearly ended their run as the top DVD access when they decided to exclusively go streaming and then their DVD service through another name. The customers and clients revolted at the idea, so Netflix stayed a combined service, and now the red envelope is a common sight for almost everyone. There were days when people had to wait a long time for their rides. There are times when people needed to pay a fair amount through the concept of being able to engage a taxi for their trips. But in 2009, a company was founded that would see taxi services forever changed. This was because any person who wanted to could download a smartphone app and begin to earn money by becoming an Uber driver. Sure, there were laws and such that the company had to be followers of, but the idea took off. Now Uber drivers can make a substantial amount every week just by giving people a lift. Sure, the term Uber used to be an adjective, meaning that something was described as Uber, meaning top most of whatever was being described, but it is now thought of as a noun, meaning someone's calling it for a ride. And yes, there are horror stories of Uber drivers and passengers, but the odds are you would never get a story of your own to go with it. The concept is enough that somebody decided to try and challenge Uber and get into competition with the service, so printed taxi cabs are going away and have been replaced by people using their own car. I bet you'll never guess what the early versions of the device you're listening to right now were really like. When computers were first thought up, they began using old-style vacuum tubes, and it would take so much power it would draw much of it from the town it was first built in. Some may argue that the earliest were things like the Antikythera mechanism, but I'm talking about electronic devices that took forever to run. And if the answer they came up with was wrong, they'd have to go and check vacuum tubes to see if a cockroach or other household insect might have gotten into the tubes and died as a result. This is the beginning of the phrase work the bugs out, coincidentally. But it was thought computers were good for only scientific study and businesses, and that the people using them had to be specifically trained in order to understand what they were doing. And then Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak had a crazy idea. Why couldn't computers be used as things other than complex business tools? Their first attempt, the Apple Lisa, was a rough work to say the least, and it cost people way too much. Then the Apple II came on, and the market and people began to see the concept of personal computers take off. It wasn't long after the schools realized they could use these marvelous devices as ways to teach kids how to use things, and then came the first Mac. Suddenly, it was all about how computers could be used as an artistic medium. The forerunner of business computing, IBM, realized that they had to adapt or be left in the dust, and the computer revolution took off. Now these ideas are so common that it's a rarity to find a home that doesn't have at least one of these devices in it, whether it's the idea of a desktop, a laptop, an iPad, an iPhone, or anything close to it. It's become such a big part of our lives that it's highly unlikely, again, that some of the younger people listening to this could even begin to imagine a life where these kinds of devices, given the name of computer because the initial design was for mathematical constructs where such things were done by very dedicated mathematicians called computers before the first machine was ever built. And there seems to be no end in sight when it comes to how much more developed computers will become. So, with this now everyday part of our lives, what can be the most paradigm-shifting idea of them all? What company changed the world so much that the alternative is considered very old? What designation transformed the world far before anything else? It was the invention of Alexander Graham Bell that set into motion the idea that the rest of these things could even be thought of. Before the telephone, the best way to get to reach people a distance away was via the postal service, or if they were lucky, the telegraph. The problem with that is telegraphs worked in every home and took days via post. But the first call, "Watson, come here, I need you," came, and a voice was heard in the device. It used to be that it needed to be hand cranked and powered that way, and that a human being would physically connect to the phone lines, and it could be used to be all that you'd ever did was talk on it. But think about it. I mean, really think. I put 4 other ideas up in this video, 4 ideas that change the way we do things. You're listening to this on a device that is connected to a network that used to run through actual phone lines, a device where you could watch via the same internet anything you want, a device that you can even ask someone to come and pick you up in. As for the last these days, if it weren't for the internet, ILM would have fallen away, something that would have left us pretty much watching tacky costume people on the big screen, and that would have been something that you couldn't talk to others about. We pretty much take it for granted now that we have the capacity to do all of these things, that it seems prehistoric almost to believe there was a world before this. So that's it. If you can think of other paradigm-shifting companies that I might have missed, please put them in the comments. Give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss other videos coming up. And I promise we will get back to our tour of the state soon, so we'll see you all next time.